This is food. This is beans. So, Adrian Pinter, it is now time for us to talk Jurassic World Dominion. One of your favorite franchises, the Jurassic Park franchise, is coming to a close, question mark? Not quite sure exactly. I'm a little fuzzy on that. But this is arguably the end of the Jurassic Park saga, I guess. But it's also definitely the end of the Jurassic World trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is one of your favorite franchises, so I feel like I should just let you take it away. But before I do that, I should make it clear. This is a spoiler cast episode of Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. It is specifically a bonus episode, and I want to make it clear, we are going to be spoiling the heck out of Jurassic World Dominion. So if you have not watched it and you intend to, please turn this off now. Go watch the movie in your local theater, and then come back and listen to our opinion about it after. Or you can get it spoiled for yourself and listen to the end of this podcast, this bonus episode. I don't care, quite frankly, but I'm just giving you the warning. Adrian, what did you think of Jurassic World Dominion?
Simon Eady, thank you for handing me the microphone. What I thought of Jurassic World Dominion is that this movie is a total mess of a plot. It is ridiculous. It's outlandish. They double down on the wackiness. There's some poor writing and dialogue. They go all in on the fan service for, of this Jurassic Park / World franchise, where they bring back a bunch of characters and they reference a bunch of things that happened. They bring back so many familiar actors or recast, characters from even the first Jurassic Park movie with a different actor and stuff like that. However,
yes,
although I believe truly that this is a bad movie, I had a goddamn blast with this, and I don't really need there to be a good movie. If you give me dinosaurs, Simon, you give me dinosaurs killing people, killing each other, these wacky scenarios, I'm gonna have a good time regardless. And I will end my point with saying, if you like the Jurassic Park, like only the Jurassic Park movie, but you never liked anything after Jurassic Park, you didn't really like the Jurassic World movies either, specifically the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I don't imagine you're going to enjoy this movie. But if you are just looking for a good time with dinosaurs and you want to waste 2.5 hours, this is the movie for you. And it was a movie for me. Simon, what did you think, my friend?
What did I think?
Yeah.
Adrian, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a good movie. It was okay. It was an okay movie, I should say. Not a good movie, but an okay movie. You see, I don't think I live in that territory that you live in where you say, like, I liked it, but it was a bad movie. I don't know if I guess I do, because I don't like The Room, where I think The Room is a bad movie, but I enjoyed watching it. I don't know. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I guess I do live in that territory. I don't know. Now I'm confused. But regardless, this is an okay movie, is what I would say. And I did enjoy it. It was a fun time and a roller coaster film. It was a theme park movie, Adrian.
It was.
Yeah.
I feel like, how the Marvel movies are for Mr. Martin Scorsese, I feel like the Jurassic Park movies are the theme park for me. And it's just like this great, ridiculous time that I want to spend time in. Unlike Martin Scorsese for the Marvel movies, I guess. So it wasn't a correct analogy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would say that overall, generally, if I like a movie, I do think it's good. It's an okay movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I don't like it that much, it's probably not a good movie. I try to align that as much as possible. Some exceptions to that rule, I suppose, in that there is The Room. But this movie's okay. And it is a convoluted plot. It has some issues. It's funny. It's weird. It's not rated very highly on Rotten Tomatoes. Is it below 30% at this point? It's not good.
Yeah, it's 30 from what I can tell right now.
Yeah, no, it's exactly 30. Shit. Mm-hmm. But it's neat. I don't know. It's almost like, it's kind of like the movie Taken,
Yeah, kind of.
Their daughter gets kidnapped, and that's really what the movie's about. That's why I had a question when I started this podcast episode. I started off with the question, is this the end of the Jurassic Park franchise? Maybe for a little while, maybe it is, but is it?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to reboot this? Are they going to continue it in some way?
Are they going to do the dinosaur human hybrid things that were rumored many years ago?
Or maybe that the Fast franchise Jurassic World crossover event,
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Just to mix it up, give us something truly ridiculous. But what I would say is that I like this movie better than I liked Fallen Kingdom, which is interesting. And I wonder if you disagree with that. But the Fallen Kingdom, of course, was the second in the Jurassic World trilogy.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, it's a voyage, it's an adventure to go save their daughter is kind of what the root of the movie is. And they're on this adventure to do that. And then the problem with the movie for me is that there's a lot of thinness in the plot. Like there's a lot of weird motivations that don't make a lot of sense. I guess that's my issue.
Very much
which
so.
plot matters to me. And that's where I it's not really a whole necessarily, but it's like, why though? Like, why did Alan Grant, why did Ellie Statler and Ian Malcolm get together at all in this movie? That's my question. I don't really understand. It seems like why didn't why didn't they help out with the other Jurassic World when there was a problem? What about Fallen Kingdom? It's like, why are they just in this? And it's for almost a completely unrelated reason to dinosaurs. So,
well, yeah, right. It's an interesting thing. Like I would argue that this movie is kind of plot convenience. The movie just keeps on going forward because these characters find themselves in these very specific situations that help the plot move forward. And again, I think it kind of adds to this like almost convoluted mess that the plot is, but it's still quite enjoyable. And yeah, like with Ellie Sattler, she's like introduced. You see these like these huge locust things, right? Like roaming the earth. And I guess, you can make the argument it's not Dinosaur World or Dinosaur Park. Like it's Jurassic Park. So like I guess it can bring back, these larger insects and shit from the past too. So you have like these huge locusts roaming the world. Laura Dern playing Ellie Sattler. She's back. She's doing these, like she's, I guess, working for the government in some sort of way, environmentalists, etc. And then finds that, hey, these are obviously biogenetic animals. They're destroying crops except for the crops manufactured by Biosyn, which is a big company that's owned by a guy named or run by a guy named Lewis Dodgson. And it's interesting because this Dodgson character is the same character from the first Jurassic Park movie that the one guy meets, like at the beginning of the movie. His name escapes me. Newman, yeah. Who Newman meets at the beginning of Jurassic.
His name isn't actually Newman.
Isn't it? Or is that his character from Seinfeld?
That's his character from Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
But that actor's great. I like that guy. It's great.
Jurassic
Park. Newman is played by Wayne Knight.
Yeah, his name's Dennis Nedry. Sorry. But yeah, like Dennis Nedry meets this Lewis Dodgson in that first movie. It's played by a different actor in that movie. He's the guy that gives him that like shaving cream can to put the dinosaur DNA in it from all the way back then, right? And Laura Dern's Ellie Sattler goes to get Alan Grant to go to this Biosyn place that now Ian Malcolm works at after being 100% fully against what was going on with like bringing back dinosaurs in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is kind of funny. They're just like, whatever, he's just cool with it now. He's just kind of like, well, if you can't beat him, join him, which I found kind of funny.
Did he do anything? Did he even share his opinion about that? I don't feel like it. He did.
In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
Sorry, we're talking about Alan Grant, right?
Oh, no, I was talking about Ian Malcolm, sorry.
But Ian Malcolm didn't. Oh, I see what you mean. He joined them because he joined that company, but he didn't join them for that reason. He joined them to be an inside man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so he's still against it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, they get kind of all back together there, and it's like this like Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler. They got to go espionage through this Biosyn building to get like the thing from a DNA sample from the locusts to be able to reverse engineer these locusts or whatever. I don't know. Again, the plot's just so fucking wacky, but I really loved it. And honestly, they were trying to
get proof. That was the idea. The idea was to get proof so they could get the government involved. I think that was the idea.
Yeah. I feel like you could have just put it out there. You could have just been like, hey, these locusts are destroying all the crops except for these crops made by Biosyn. You put that online, it would spread like wildfire. It would spread like those locusts.
Would it? I don't think it would in today's internet, man.
No,
People
you
don't
don't
give a
think
shit
so?
about that. They just care about meme culture, and no one gives a shit. Do you really think that? That's not to be cynical, but our world is a bit messed up, and like there's so much shit going on at any given moment that like I don't think anyone would care. It's like yeah, big company doing big company things. Yeah,
These fucking leftists always just trying to spread their
yeah.
propaganda online.
That's not actually inaccurate. That's what somebody would say.
No, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I get it. Like you go for the actual proof. You go to the actual government. I guess if you go to the government and deliver this information, maybe they would have done something. I found the plot weird because I think there's an easy solution to having the three people come back together, like Grant, Sattler, and Malcolm. Shouldn't they just have been hired by the CIA? Because for whatever reason, the CIA was involved and they hired a bunch of people from Jurassic World, but they didn't hire the original people from Jurassic Park to fix this issue. I found that a little bit weird. And I feel like that's an easy in for these characters instead of having like Sattler go find Grant and say, hey, do you want to help me with this bug problem? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, why was that the plot? It was just more convoluted. Also, the most absurd thing in this entire movie, this was actually bad for realsies. This was probably the worst shot in the entire movie. When Sattler's getting into her car or whatever, and then she takes off her glasses, it's the most dumb shot I've ever seen. And I get that it was a throwback to Jurassic Park, but it makes no sense in the context of the movie. Do you remember what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, again, that's it's stupid, but again, like this is just fan service on fan service on fan service that Colin Trevorrow has done.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Hell, man, even Dodgson, at the end of the movie, he dies the same way as Dennis Nedry does in the Jurassic Park movie. The same dinosaurs and everything. It's like a very similar situation. It's just so many things. Like, his old pal, 30 years ago, died the exact same way as he died, just in like a different area. And he has the can. The can rolls away the same way. It's so stupid. But again, it's just junk food. It's like really good junk food. You know what I mean?
I didn't even make that connection because I didn't remember that scene from Jurassic Park, the beginning scene where he passes the can to him. So I just didn't make the connection. But I did remember that Wayne Knight's character did die like that. I'm like, didn't Wayne Knight die the same way in Jurassic Park? So what I just thought, I was just getting out of the shower. Shower thoughts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get out of the shower. I'm like, wait a second. Wayne Knight's character died the same way that this Tim Cook lookalike died in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's so funny because I feel like they just made Lewis Dodgson into Tim Cook. They're just like, Apple people are villains. Like, he's just playing Tim Cook, it feels like, which is...
It was interesting. Yeah, that was a weird thing. Like, because I feel like a couple people I could hear people murmur that in the theater. And my girlfriend leaned over and said, isn't that the guy from Apple?
There's no way that was like unintentional. You know what I mean? That was 100% intentional, which I quite love.
That guy just sounds and looks like him, though.
Yeah.
He just has the same haircut and he's wearing the same kinds of glasses that Tim Cook wears, too. Or Tim Apple, should I say.
Tim Apple.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Right.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So the other thing I questioned a little bit was like, they skipped ahead 4 years. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
This movie takes place 4 years after Fallen Kingdom. Isn't that like a weird mistake? Like, wouldn't an interesting movie be like these dinosaurs are like terrorizing like cities? Like, you could make like almost like a small town story about this and just forget about the original cast and just have like a T-Rex just stomping through New York, or like Seattle or something. It'd be cool if that was the case. Like, how did they get that giant dinosaur? How did they manage to capture him and transport him? They're like, this is the biggest dinosaur known to man, Alan Grant says, played by Sam Neill. Like, come on, like
the Gigantosaurus.
How did they capture that?
I have no clue. It's interesting. Maybe just a bunch of tranquilizers. They put him on a thing. They airlifted him.
Yeah, but remember Jurassic World? They tried to take that one big dinosaur out, and like full teams of people were being murdered.
Yeah,
and that was not the biggest dinosaur. Although that was a weird hybrid that they created. But I just find that strange.
Yeah, that was the super Indominus Rex creature.
Like, I feel like they just kind of didn't, I don't know, they try to do too much in this movie. That's kind of the thing that and that's why I was saying that the plot is too thin, like in various elements, and they never did anything exactly right. Like, they could have done it where they focused on, because most of these Jurassic Park movies, they focus on one villain. And that's what's so good about Jurassic World, I find, and that's why it's the best one out of this trilogy specifically, is that they focused on saying, this is a hybrid we created, isn't it cool? And the people are
cool.
like looking around, and some of them are thinking, I don't know if this is cool. What if it got loose? You know what I'm saying? Like and as an audience, you relate to that person that's thinking realistically about the situation, because you know that dinosaur is going to get loose and is going to eat a bunch of people. And you know it's a bad idea to do this. But as the audience as well, I think Chris Pratt was that character in Jurassic World.
He was, yeah.
He was like, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, he goes to Bryce Dallas Howard and is like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And then he hides under a car and puts gasoline all over him.
Exactly. But my point is, they didn't do that. They didn't create a dinosaur villain in this one, which I found interesting. They kind of made it way more about the people just running away. And I feel like the lack of focus on the dinosaurs, even in general, there's a wonder about Jurassic Park that I feel like was lost here too. Like there's a beauty of dinosaurs that they kind of capture. Like even in the beginning, Ellie Sattler goes and pets that dinosaur in the beginning in that the Biosyn compound, I guess.
Yeah, which is another callback to the original Jurassic Park movie when she helps the Triceratops.
Yeah,
it's like
good call. Yeah, you're bringing these callbacks back. I appreciate that. I'm talking to you about this because you're the real expert. But I just find that, again, on a thinness perspective, there's a beauty of dinosaurs as well as the terror of them, and I don't think they focused on that at all. And the character of the dinosaurs was lost.
Yeah,
even the cloning plot was kind of an odd thing. Cloning humans, which should have been a huge thing. Like, oh, this is huge and insurmountable, but they don't really go into that. And the fact that they kind of trivialized the whole thing with a now this segment. like I was like, what? Okay, I get it. You want to say there's a new segment, but they almost didn't make it look as dangerous as it should look. Like we already know as the audience that it's dangerous, but there's nothing arguably more dangerous to focus on than the fact that there's like a Velociraptor just loose.
I agree.
In the random forest, and it could just come into any city and eat people because they're literally predators.
Well, yeah, no, you're definitely right. Because with obviously the first Jurassic Park movie, there's the T-Rex. In the second one, Lost World, there's 2 T-Rexes. In the third one, it's like the one. I mean, it's like a group of raptors, but then there's also the pterodactyl. Then in Jurassic World, it's the Indominus Rex. And then in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, it's the Indominus Raptor, like Velociraptor creature. And then in this one, you keep on upping it to making it, oh, these are the craziest hunting. Like the Indominus Rex is not to be stifled with. And then you come out with the Raptor where it's smaller, but it's way more vicious. It's smarter. It can go through tiny hallways and just fuck you up. And then in this one, it's oh, it's the biggest dinosaur ever that hit Earth, the Gigantosaurus or whatever. But you don't really see it too often, and it's just it's just an apex predator. It's just walking around, kind of. You run into it, and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to fight this guy. But I feel like they spread the focus a little bit too much because they have that side plot when Owen and Claire, they go to that one country. I don't know where. I forget. Malta. That's not the country. That's where they go.
It was in Malta. Yeah.
They go to Malta. And then, they have those super raptors that follow laser pointers. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's a neat idea. But those are kind of, done and dealt with. And then, again, there's the Gigantosaurus. But then there's the weird fucking Edward Scissorhands dinosaur. With the long ass fingernails.
What was that?
And I was like, oh, this thing's cool. And I loved that scene with Claire when she gets ejected from the plane, which is also why are you making her? I guess Owen and what's the character's name? Kayla, I think, who's played by DeWanda Wise. They're in the plane and they're like, oh, we're gonna crash. We might die, so let's just save you, Claire. But it's also just, why don't you guys all just stick together? It was one of those, and then they had to go find her. But yeah, so Claire just ejects from that plane or whatever is what I was saying. And then you have Kayla and Owen just being yeah, you got to eject. But they should have really just stuck together. But then she cuts herself down, and there's the Edward Scissorhands dinosaur that follows her as she's crawling into the water. I'm like, man, this is a really cool shot. I really like that. And I was like, this is an interesting dinosaur. It's more feather-like. They try to bring back some of those feather-like dinos, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great shot. That was like one of the highlights of the movie for sure. But they didn't, I don't know, they didn't capture the essence of that throughout. It's a missing, there's missing links there. This is the, I don't know, they just, it's thinness that I just didn't love. But I was enthralled. I was excited. And I mean, again, it's a theme park movie. It really is. This is the definition for me. Like it did what I think its job was. But I just wonder about that question. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's the most important question is this the end of the saga? Because what a weird ending. It's just like, what I kind of fizzled. Like, why did you do it? Like, it was really taken. It's not about the dinosaurs at all. It's about the person that you're trying to save, this clone. And they didn't really deal with the clone enough too. So like they kind of just did 3 plots, but they didn't really do any of them that well. But I was still excited because I wanted her to be saved and stuff like that. That plot I understood and I was kind of more enthralled with. But it was more like a parents finding their child, not about dinosaurs or about the other stuff that we've been grown to love about this. And I feel like it tried to say something about climate change at the end, but it didn't necessarily do that throughout. It's like an interesting, I don't know. It's just a mashup of things. Again, do I think this is bad? Not really. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's good, I guess. So it's like a pretty even movie for me. I did enjoy it. And the one thing that I would say it was the most annoying and jarring thing, though, for sure, is the worst problem with the movie, in my opinion, were the Game of Thrones season 8 type sequences in which characters just seem to teleport. What on earth? Characters were just in one scene in a different place on Earth, and then they would be in another scene in another place on Earth. And it was like the next scene over. Like there was no time in between. Like, for instance, Kayla is the greatest example. Like, I mean, her plane is fast. Let me tell you. Because she delivered that Velociraptor baby, Blue's baby, and then she was all of a sudden in Malta. It's like, how did that happen? There was like one scene over.
Yeah.
It made no sense at all. And that happened multiple times in the movie. There's like these weird time jump problems where people are just like in 2 places at once, presumably. I'm like, oh, does Kayla have a twin? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Kaylee.
Yeah. Kayla's twin, Kaylee. DeWanda Weiss, I've never seen anything, but she's pretty good.
She was awesome. Yeah.
She was pretty cool as a character. She did a great job acting. I don't know. I liked her. She was cool.
Yeah, she was a welcome addition to like the cast. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I wouldn't mind seeing her sort of like if we start following her, like if there are like a continuation, because I think there will be more of these Jurassic movies. I don't think it'll be like the Jurassic World. It'll be something Jurassic something else. But I wouldn't mind seeing it, you're following this Kayla character and she's doing these like deliveries or I don't know. I guess I forget what she's doing at the end of this movie. But, I feel like you could do a lot of cool things. You don't necessarily have to bring back, the 5 major cast members. I guess now 6 with like Macy being added. So I actually, funny enough, I rewatched Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom like just before going to see Jurassic World Dominion. And I still stand by. Like, I really like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I actually think I like that movie better than Dominion. Like, watching it so close to one another, I think it's a little bit more focused. And again, it has that, like, central villain. And there is a cool, like, reveal of, like, oh, man, she was, like, cloned and stuff like that. Like, I like that sort of shit. I think it's really fun. And it's, again, you're more focused on the Owen Grady, the Claire character and, Macy. And then you have like a villain and whatever. It's not like a hodgepodge of just fan service galore that I would say Dominion is. And it brought back, again, that movie also has quite a few callbacks, like the clicking with the big like raptor nail and shit like that. Like the claw, I guess I should say. Like that stuff's really cool, and it has like almost these like pseudo horror elements like sprinkled in the movie, and that level of like intenseness where it's like this confined area, like they have to escape this area and try to kill this fucking super raptor thing. Whereas like again, there's not really a villain that they're trying to escape or kill. Really, they're just trying to reveal a thing that a company's doing.
Right.
And I think it kind of adds to that disjointed nature. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, it's just like, well, why are they just trying to take down this company too? It's like, it's cool that, I don't know, it just seems weird. It just seemed out of place. Because you also skipped ahead. Like, you're just now in another park, but in a park in the mainland. It's kind of like the same thing again. They kind of just try to hit all the same beats. It actually kind of reminds me of the Star Wars sequels in a way. Because you're also mentioning how much fan service it does. The issue with Rise of Skywalker is on a whole other level, though, because
Mhm.
that movie is just, honestly, that's just completely uninventive with, man, there's so many problems there as well. Like they're retconning things. They didn't retcon things in this movie,
No.
at least. They just did like throwbacks to the previous episodes, I guess. But there was like serious weird problems with Rise of Skywalker. But it's funny because Colin Trevorrow was going to direct Rise of Skywalker prior to J.J. Abrams directing it until he was kicked out.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe Colin Trevorrow wouldn't necessarily have made a good movie. It might have been
just as bad,
more entertaining, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. In that, like, that's even more complex, in that he had to. That's an interesting spot that anyone would have been in for after The Last Jedi. And we've said this before. Not that this is a Star Wars podcast, but I've said this. You said it actually when he came out of that theater. I said, I don't know how they're going to follow that after The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then The Rise of Skywalker, they couldn't because they didn't have a plan. But regardless, that's kind of, I don't know. It almost kind of felt like what they ran into here, but they had a lot to be able to follow, because they could have just went right into the world being infested by dinosaurs, but instead they skipped 4 years. So I feel like that was like almost like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, like just do a full-on Dinocalypse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would have been what I would do. That seems like that would have been a bit more, I guess, cohesive.
Yeah.
Because you can just come right out of that. And then the Jurassic Park guys can come and get involved, because the government's like, what do we do here? You dealt with this before. Which is still a little bit cheesy, but like you just get them in, and it's like right away. It's easy. Like, not also, there's the crops being destroyed also, which is not related. It's so weird how unrelated that is. It's just like, that's just a plot that this particular company, who also seems to be housing dinosaurs, is doing. But like the focus should be the dinosaurs, not the weird crop science.
Mm-hmm.
It's just strange. But again, I didn't dislike it because it was, again, the daughter parents thing that seemed to pull the plot together. And then that Malta sequence was amazing. I really love that chase scene.
That was awesome.
Yeah, like, and
just like this underground ring where they're like selling different dinosaurs. They're like cooking dinosaurs on spits. They have like these like a dinosaur fighting ring and shit like that. I think that's a brilliant, like absolutely brilliant ideas.
Yeah, there was some really good ideas. Like Omar Sy was a cool character too. I liked him in it.
I'm glad they brought him back from Jurassic World. I agree.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good callback too. And I just, yeah, it's just the cohesiveness. This was just like, just they didn't seem to know how to pull the different elements together. There's that funny moment where there's that weird looking harmless dinosaur on the ground that bites the guy's hand.
Oh yeah.
It's like you just don't know it's coming, but you kind of know as the audience, you're like, that dinosaur seems too timid and slow. I think it's going to be dangerous, kind of thing, which was funny. My favorite thing, though, honestly, and I know that you called this fan service at the top, but I really did like seeing the returning cast, because there was all these callbacks, and I thought that, as usual, Jeff Goldblum delivered. He's just so funny. And that moment where he's trying to unlock the fence, I was just laughing so much. I just thought he was just so ridiculous. He's like, there are 10,000 combinations here. I was like, come on. It's just so silly. And then my girlfriend said, right as soon as he typed in another code, and then the guy back at base, the CFO or whatever,
Ramsey, I think his name is,
Ramsey, played by Mahmoudou Athi. He specifically like typed in the code, and then my girlfriend saw Jeff Goldblum type in a code, and the code she saw him type in was 6969. I don't know if that's true, but I want to believe it's true, because that's hilarious. Because at the end, when he opened the gate, but he didn't open the gate because Ramsey did, he's like, that actually worked. I was like, because it would be 6969. That would be even funnier. But yeah, his quips were really funny throughout the whole thing. Even like the way he delivers simple lines, like even when like Chris Pratt has the baby blue on his shoulder, and he's like,
Beta,
is there a raptor on your shoulder? He just says it in such a way that I was like, I don't know. It was just something really fun about it. And I don't know.
Even like the line where he's just like, you made a promise to a dinosaur. Like, it's just, the delivery is just brilliant.
It's great too, because it's pointing out the ridiculousness of the movie itself that we're watching. So it makes the movie less ridiculous because of the fact that the main cast is almost calling out how silly the movie is in a way. I don't know. I like that idea, He's like almost meta. He's like breaking the
Mhm.
fourth wall in a weird, like very not obviously he's not doing that deliberately, but he's doing it in a weird, a more relatable to the humans watching the movie way, if that makes sense.
Very much so, yeah.
And I think that's why I also like the movie like more than I thought I would because of that. I felt like the tone stayed the same, and that's why I liked it more than Fallen Kingdom. That's my issue with Fallen Kingdom is I felt like the tone was like it's a drastic shift between the front of the movie and the second half. It was almost like, you know, Joss Whedon took over for Zack Snyder or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my issue with the J.A. Bayona like Fallen Kingdom. I didn't hate it, but I just was like, it's not the greatest. But this movie I found was kind of fun to watch all the way through, despite its story, a thin story, I would say, in various spots.
Yeah. Like speaking of like the thin story as well, like with Henry Wu, like they set him up to be the villain, like at the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Like he's a bad guy. He's like, I'm gonna be rich and make all these dinosaurs. And then again, you can make the argument a lot of things can change after 4 years. And like, you know, we see him again and he's like, oh my God, I made like a huge mistake. Like I'm about to destroy the world. Like I need to save the world by getting like the DNA of this clone woman that was cloned by herself, I guess, that got rid of like an illness. And just it's again, the plot just gets so wacky, but even then it makes it for an enjoyable movie. And again, BD Wong's performance, sorry, not BD Wong, Benedict Wong, right?
No, BD Wong.
BD Wong. Oh, Benedict Wong. Sorry, my apologies. Benedict Wong is from Doctor Strange. I apologize about that.
Yes.
But yeah, BD Wong's performance is genuinely stellar, and it's cool to see him again. And even when, you know, like Sam Neill and or like Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm see him again, they're just like, oh, you again? From the first movie when we were all together. It's so cool. And
yeah, that was great.
I know you mentioned that. I know you mentioned like, yeah, like I was saying that it's fan service. I think this is good fan service, at least for me. Like I think fan service regularly does have a negative connotation, like we make the argument for Rise of Skywalker. But in this sort of setting, in a action movie about dinosaurs killing people setting, the fan service really just fits. And it made me really just love it. And again, I was like smiling ear to ear so much, even at the dumbass shit that was happening. Like, this is fucking awesome. Man, there's a scene where Jeff Goldblum, he like grabs the spear, or like has like a little spear, and he has one of the locusts that are burning on fire. That's like reminiscent to the first movie when he's like, I think using a flare for the T-Rex. And, you know, the Gigantosaurus or whatever comes over to him and then he throws it in the dinosaur's mouth and it blows out fire like a dragon. And I was like, this is so awesome. Like, it's just, oh God, there's so many little things like that where like, I feel like Colin Trevorrow, like just doubled down. He's like, I'm going to make this a fucking thrill ride. I'm going to make like, and I think it shows, man, because on Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, the critics aren't liking this, but the audience score is, I think, around 80. It's 79. I just looked it up. So like it obviously, I think he knows what's working, and it's raking in the money. Like, honestly, it's doing very well, like at the box office. So I think that's another reason why I imagine they're going to continue this franchise. And I wouldn't mind.
But is it a reboot though?
That's, I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know if I want a reboot or if I like, so there's that new Predator movie coming out called Prey, which is like, you know, those Native Americans with like dealing with a predator, right? Like back in time.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you do this Jurassic World movie and then you go to like this remote island, right? And it's just like Native Americans there and they're just dealing with dinosaurs now. Like, imagine if they do like a spinoff like that. Like, that would be fucking awesome, dude. You know, like I feel like you can go so many ways now with like these dinosaurs just roaming the earth. Whether you bring back any of the cast or just bring it on all new cast, you can set it anywhere, bring it anywhere. Cause they do show like a brief period where it's like the dinosaurs are like literally all over the world because there's like an underground like trading ring and shit like that. So the possibilities are endless, and I would prefer they kind of keep it like, hey man, like the dinosaurs are roaming the earth and kind of go from there. Because I genuinely think, like, I think the Jurassic Park, if you try to reboot that and like you won't come anywhere close to the quality that Steven Spielberg made with Jurassic Park. And I think as much as I love all of these movies and have like a great time with all of these movies, like there's no doubt in my fucking mind that Jurassic Park is easily the best of the bunch by a large margin, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So why try to remake that or reboot that when you can just continue on this wacky universe, cut out all the weird like political stuff and like corporation stuff, and it's just, hey, it's people dealing with dinosaurs on the remote island or like in a city or wherever else. Even if they go kind of back in time and do like an in-between cool, like that takes place immediately after the dinosaurs start roaming the world. There was that short film that Colin Trevorrow directed where it's like the family at like a trailer park or some shit like that. You remember that? It was released like a couple years ago.
No, I never saw that.
Yeah, it's really great. It's like it's a short film, like 10, 15 minutes long, give or take a bit. And it literally is a bit like it follows just like this family that's like at this, like in their trailer, and a T-Rex just shows up, and it's set in the Jurassic World universe. Like you could do something like that. And again, new cast, new scenario, regular people dealing with these fucking wild dinosaurs, because obviously the government wouldn't be able to save everyone. Like you could make like almost like a zombie apocalypse movie just with dinosaurs, raptors, pterodactyls, you know what I mean? Like I think you could do so much awesome shit with this, and I really hope they do.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do that. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm curious. You say it's doing really well. I didn't notice the numbers. I mean, we were recording this though, like this is the first weekend. Mm-hmm. This is like the opening weekend, so I'm curious how it ends up doing when Monday morning hits, because we're recording this on Sunday. But
it's $143 million opening night, I guess.
So just for the Friday and the Thursday, or just the Friday?
I think that's just the Friday. Hollywood Reporter. Let me pull it up for you. And it's domestic opening after Roaring to Friday gross. Yeah, so after Friday. And then globally, it has now passed $389 million after Sunday, which is today.
Sounds like you almost said billion.
I said million.
Careful.
I meant to say million. If I said billion, then I meant million. But yeah.
You said million, but you started with the B sound. And I was like,
Ruh-roh.
Hold your horses there. That's way too much money. But yeah, that's, I don't know. That's cool. That's great. I'm just happy for the theater industry. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that they are getting this like crazy summer so far, or like even starting with Doctor Strange and kind of going from there, or even starting with the Batman, I suppose. It's like been a very good year. Top Gun Maverick, and now this movie, and going into Thor: Love and Thunder. So that's great too. That's great to see.
Yeah,
it's great to see. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds for Jurassic World. What if they'll make a TV show, Adrian?
Oh, dude, I would shit my pants, because this is it's Universal, right? So does Universal have a streaming service? I don't think so.
Peacock.
Oh, you're right. I hope it's not on Peacock, because there is the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Oh, there it is, Simon. It wouldn't be a podcast of ours if there wasn't a bell tolling in the back. But there is the Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous or some shit like that, which is the animated Netflix series, which isn't necessarily what I want, because I think it's like aimed at like children and younger audiences and stuff like that. But,
right.
Like I would love a live action Jurassic Park series, like a week, set it immediately after, the dinosaurs escape, and make it like a week to week sort of thing. And then it can kind of like lead up to them kind of getting the world under control.
Yeah. Right on the cock. Yeah.
You just say right on the cock?
Yeah, the peacock.
The
peacock. Obviously, get your mind out of the gutter, Adrian. Come on,
sir. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, continue.
I don't know if they got the budget for that, though. I don't know if Peacock has ever done anything like that to that extent. We talked recently about, well, not that recently, on episode 100, the last episode that was numbered on our podcast, Split Focus, a film and TV podcast. We talked about the Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn TV series potentially being a animated show, only because like the budget would need to be pretty high. So I'm not sure like who's got the money to do like a full-fledged dinosaur TV series that has like 8 episodes, but I don't know. It's like the amount of CG too. Like it's pretty masterful stuff what they were able to pull off. I'd say. Like I think they did a really good job. Like the computer graphics. Like I don't know what you think. You're the visual effects. Connoisseur, criticizer. You really find that the flaws in bad CG. So I'm curious if you saw any flaws in this, but I think they did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, I think they did a really great job, honestly, in the CG. Like maybe I was just blinded by nostalgia and having a great time with dinosaurs and stuff, but I didn't really notice too many like situations where I'm like, ooh, that looks bad. Like honestly, I think they did a really great job and kind of because they obviously had like animatronic dinosaurs as well.
Yeah, they did both practical and computer graphic effects,
and I feel like it melded together very well. So, yeah, I can't complain about the CGI, Simon. I won't complain about it. Actually,
that's great.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Cool, man. Well,
yeah,
I feel like that
just about covers everything, man. I don't think I have much else to say. I'm sure I'll like think of a bunch of stuff, but all in all, I think this is a really great time. I think it's a bad movie. I think it's a really fun movie, though, and I loved it. Before we leave, though, Simon,
yeah,
I'm curious. What is your ranking of all the Jurassic Park / World movies?
See, I didn't see all the Jurassic Park movies.
What?
I only saw Jurassic Park 1 and didn't see the next one. But there's only 5, right?
Oh, you never watched Lost World? No, there's The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, there is. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, there was a trilogy there and there's another trilogy here. So 6 movies in total.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see 2 and 3.
Oh.
So I can't rate them all, unfortunately, for you. So you may as well just give me your ranking.
Yeah, so
call it. But
I would say Jurassic Park for sure, number 1. Jurassic World, I would say, is number 2. And then I would probably say Jurassic Park 3. I'm just very nostalgic over it just because I feel like I watched that a lot when I was a kid. And then I would say Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, and then Jurassic Park 2 is probably my least favorite. Mind you, I'm not ranking this from like best to worst. I'm ranking this from favorite to least favorite.
Oh.
But I love all of them, genuinely. And real quick, I forgot to mention, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, they end up together. Baby, again, another fan service moment. She's like, I divorced, my husband and I divorced. Remember my husband from Jurassic Park 3? You wouldn't, Simon, because you never watched it, but I did. She's like, we divorced, and then they end up together. She's like, you want to come with me? And he's like, I'm going everywhere with you, baby. And that made me happy, too.
Yeah, that was, definite fan service. It was good. It was good. It was also that Maisie moment where she was like looking at them, thinking that they were together. And then when they said they weren't, she was like, what? What are you talking about?
What is your problem? I saw the sexual tension when you guys fell out of that locust office.
Yeah.
You know? Where did Beta go, by the way? Like, she's like, I'm going to escape with Beta. And she just runs out and Beta just pieces out. He's just like running through this facility. And then they're like, oh, we got to find Beta. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And then they did. And then Ian Malcolm said that.
They saved Beta and reunited her.
Yeah, I love the little Blue runs away and then like comes back and then does a little head nod. And Owen Grady like, thanks, bro. And Owen's like, yeah. I'll miss you, Blue.
That was a really good moment, man. I don't know.
It.
That was almost emotional. I really liked it. Like that, it was very, I don't know. That was very nostalgic for the kind of the beginning of that, like that's trilogy, the Jurassic World trilogy. Like that was one of the best moments in that movie overall.
I agree.
It was a little bit more serious and they kind of, they brought it back kind of thing to Jurassic World 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I love this.
Excellent. I liked it. I thought it was an okay movie, and it was exciting to watch, Adrian. And I liked the reintroduction of the old cast. And I thought that, I didn't mention this earlier, but Michael Giacchino did an okay job, like capturing the score of what John Williams did. I feel like he did a pretty good job there. Michael Giacchino is just blowing up. Every single movie I seem to watch, he's just the composer for. Which is interesting. Not every movie, but it's very common nowadays that Michael Giacchino's in the credits. Which he did the Batman earlier this year, and then did Jurassic World, and I think he might be doing Lightyear. I could be wrong about that, but I probably am wrong about that. So I should probably correct that before we go, and then I'm going to wrap this guy up. I'm just going to correct that real quick, Adrian. And anything else to add before we wrap this podcast up?
There should be more dinosaur franchises, Simon.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that game, Ark Survival with Vin Diesel. Look forward to that on your Xbox.
We're dating ourselves a bit here.
Are we dating ourselves?
Kind of. Someone comes back and listens to this
Look, man, I'm dating Dawn, okay?
Whoa! Oh, that's a good one. What a twist. What a twist.
Yeah. I just interrupted you and you didn't get to finish your thought. But do you want to finish it now, or can I talk about Lightyear and who's composing it?
I forget what I was saying.
You said we were dating ourselves with talking about a video game.
Yeah, because like if someone comes back and listens to this like in 30 years, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that dinosaur game didn't come out when they did this video or podcast, this recording." That's what they're gonna say.
Well, it didn't come out yet. It's coming out in 2023.
I know, but if someone listens to it in 2028, that game will already be out.
Yeah, so will the movie. I'm confused.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Oh, I see. Because you're wondering if we didn't give enough detail, or we gave too much detail about the game.
No.
What if Vin Diesel's not in it?
Vin Diesel's in it. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I don't know what you're talking about. Regardless, Michael Giacchino is composing Lightyear, so I was correct after all, Adrian. I'm just an accurate fool. So let's just continue to end this podcast. Adrian, thank you for joining me for this review of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Thank you, audience, for joining us, and have a great day, night, year. Goodbye.
Take care. Goodbye. And have a Jurassic time. A fun-filled Jurassic time world dominion.
Goodbye.